Hello everyone. Today we have Professor Abhishek Srivastava here with us. He is a moot court trainer and he has kindly agreed with us to talk about moot court competitions that are essential in law school degrees. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rishi.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning, everyone.
Sir, so let's just first understand what moot court competitions are. Could you tell why are they so important to law students very particularly?
Rishi, moot court competitions are basically a simulation of the real life real life court proceedings. In fact, this is done in order to give a proper a taste to the students regarding to what could be the real life proceedings of the of the court could be. In fact, so the students who go into the shoes of the advocates ultimately, and then there are judges who are experts, not the real judges, but they are experts of the subjects, those who judge them on the basis of their memorial, on the basis of their arguments, on the basis of their legal knowledge, and their body language, confidence level, ultimately the way of presentation, the way they follow the court mannerism, and all those things. So these things are the part of the moot court which the student get a particular feeling of before they enter into the real life court.
So what is the procedure like? Is it a team competition, individual, and how do they like formulate the basic procedure for each event?
Rishi, generally it is a team, a competition where generally it is a combination of 2 to 3 members. Generally, it is seen in normal moot court. There are 3 members, 2 are speakers, and 1 is a researcher ultimately. And the researcher is the one who helps these 2 speakers in terms of research of the law, research of the informations, and so on. And the other 2 speak. So usually this combination decided by the students themselves, the people who are good in terms of research, the people who are good in terms of the speaking arguments, oral arguments. Ultimately, they take this combination, and then they can apply for the moot court they want to go for.
So then are they very important for law students because every law school in India would have a moot court society within itself?
Generally, they are important. In a recent time, in recent last 20 years, I would say the moot court have become an integral part of the law school ultimately. And legal education, which got revitalized in 1980 somewhere around. So one of the main thing to bring out the 5-year law course by then at the time of the formation of the national schools by late Madhav Menon sir was that students must have an in-hand experience of the courts, and they could do it through moot courts. This is general practice in the Western countries. So why not to have a feeling of students generally go from here to the court ultimately, and then they struggle for next 2 to 3 years. So then why not they have a type of an experience when they're studying at the in the law school ultimately, and they get the experience of the courtrooms ultimately, the kind of the expectations they have, the kind of the requirements that are required, the procedure that has to be followed. So ultimately this becomes a very important part of the law school these days, because it saves in a modern era when you have a large number of students who are going, especially for the litigation or for other sectors as well. Ultimately, you need to polish yourself because there will be less time that you'll be spending in the court outside after your law education. So this becomes a very, very critical part. It boosts your confidence, your communication skill, your oral arguments, your written skills, your research as well, your team leadership. The most important part has been the team, how the team gel up, how do you carry a team, and ultimately, and so on.
Now that we look into debates or MENs, there are different levels of these national or even international are there. Is that the same with moot court competitions? And within law itself, there are different subject matters, right? We have constitution, we have environmental law. So do we have different moot courts for each of these?
Exactly, Rishi. In any of the major competition, you'll always have different years of the competitive levels. So now in the moot court also we have intra moot courts, starting with when the law school try to shortlist the students on the basis of their performance so that they can send the students outside in the national competitions or the state level competitions. So my suggestion to the students are like they should start with the first basic is polish themselves in the intra competition, because that is where they'll be able to learn. That is the place where you learn, hone your skills ultimately, and so on. And then you have state level competitions. Try to go in the starting level competitions, learn there as well. Because you cannot master it. It is an art that you learn over the period of time, and it will come right by the time you end up your 10th semester. You know what are the skills that you have absorbed in through these competitions. Then you go to the national level, then you go to the international level. And your question was, what are the different competitions in term of the subjects as well? We have a number of the competitions area wise as well. You can find these competitions according to the environmental law, family law, intellectual property rights as well these days. So for example, Stetson is a very popular moot court, international moot court and prestigious competition for the environmental law. Then we have Nelson Mandela competition for the environmental law and human rights as well. So Jessup is another competition where the problem keeps on changing every year in terms of the area of specialization as well. So yes, there are a lot of opportunities these days, especially for the students. If you want to excel into your area, so you have the competition for yourself as well.
In terms of subject matter, there's enough opportunity for even honor student when they choose a specialized subject for themselves.
Correct, correct.
So whenever we talk to law students and they look exhausted as generally they do, but they always have this answer that we are preparing for a moot court and we are, we have submissions, we have to do a lot of research. So how much effort actually goes into preparing for one moot court competition? Let's just say a national level one. How much effort would go actually into it?
As said that first of all, you have to get a feeling of the moot court through intra moot court, and we only consider that the bigger the moot court, obviously the more the effort will be. But my suggestion to all the students is that when you start at the ground level, the intra moot are the first one. The classroom in fact is the first one where you learn, and then you test yourself in the intra moot, and that would require at least 3 months. Ask your law school coordinators, right, the in charge of the moot court, when are we having the intra moot, and then prepare accordingly. Form a team, prepare accordingly, and at least 90 days should be there sufficient for you. If you want to go a step ahead than others, you have to give yourself at least 3 months of time. So when you go to the national level or state level, then you need to have more time, right? So for a national level competition, let us say this year, if I have to participate in any of the national level, so I should be targeting that in next 4 or 5 months, whatever the competitions are, this is the competition that we are going for. Our teams are there. These are the responsibilities which we have taken, and this is the competition that we'll focus on. So if you are going for a Jessup in 27, so your team should be ready now, right? And you should be able to test in the same area in the national competition, whether you are ready or no. Keep on doing the mock drills all the time with your faculties, with your classmates as well, if possible. So that will prepare you as well. So 1 year is must for international competition, right? Because the competition is high.
So you mentioned that if you want to prepare for JSUP in 2027, which is still 2 years away, so how prior does the moot problem go out then?
Generally, in a chess up, it will be like one competition is over, so within a month or two, so it is like you get a 10 months of time when this a problem is released. But before that, it is also important that you should have a team for that competition. It is very important because we generally underestimate the team members, but it's very important that you have a 3 or 5 members of team who should be allotted the responsibilities according to their strength.
So a lot
Right.
of pre-planning goes into
Pre-planning goes into that as well. And let us say, okay, you start working in April 26 for Jessup February 27. So ultimately, you have a 10 months of time. But before that, you have to do all the homework. For example, last year Jessup was on this, right? what may be this year problem, right? You have to start researching on the same as well. So the problem comes, you have at least 10 to 15% of the work done. This is the problem, this is the area. You are good in intellectual IPR, right? I might be good in other subject. So what could be our roles then, right? Ultimately your hold is on this subject, my hold is on this subject. Our role changes. My argumentation skill is good, so I'll go as the first speaker. Yours is good, so you go to second speaker. Who is good in research? We'll try to find out the third team, and then we'll set up, try to find out request the Moot Court Society to give us one coordinator who is expert in that particular area of the problem, and then we start working ultimately, so that we have at least 6 months of time to go get into the groove, and ultimately last 4 months should be only the marks. So by the time you reach there, you are well versed, and you should be focusing only one moot court competition at one time. That is my personal observation is, because your focus is on that particular competition at one time. That is my personal observation is, because your focus is on that particular competition.
They shouldn't apply to multiple of them at the same time, preparing for 3 4 different moods.
See, you have to understand your team. For example, I am and you are in one team, and you have a multitasking ability, so ultimately you can do that, right? But I cannot do that ultimately. So in that scenario, what can happen is that you compromise my ability in terms of going into one of the competition, and your top is going to any of the international competitions. So ultimately your focus should be there if you want to win. Just for the sake of participation, making numbers, it would not be. But my suggestion also is that when you are going for the participation, your focus should be on the process. The process is like the problem ultimately, who will argument for what time, on what points, ultimately these are the research pointers ultimately, and everything. And the task should not be put up in, like, you should not consider thinking about too much of winning, because yes, obviously your point is winning, but ultimately if you think too much of winning, you miss out on the process. So what I feel is that you focus on one target at one time, one moot court at one time.
So, and you previously mentioned that it is a simulation of an actual courtroom scenario. So, does that suggest that it is only good for people who are planning to go into litigation? So now arbitration has picked up, corporate law has picked up in a very fast pace. So people who are not planning to go to litigation, should they also do moot court competitions?
Rishi, I think this is one of the major misconceptions which the people have, right? Obviously, when you go into a competition, there are primary and there are other additional skills that you learn, in fact. And one of them is not only you learn in terms of argumentation, you learn the court mannerism, but you also learn how to carry a team, how to do a research, right? Ultimately, which are required not only for the people who are into litigation, but people who go into the corporate as well, right? You have to lead a team someday, you have to meet the client as well, and the people other who are going adopting other. For example, tomorrow if I want to become a teacher, I should know how to lead my class, how to manage a class. If today I learn how to manage this particular team, I am allotting these responsibilities to them, and they are able to succeed according to their skills, according to their strength. I am allotting them. I'm leading that team. Ultimately, I know how I can be in the classroom as well. So this is a major misconception, that the moot court is only for the people who want to go into the litigation. It is for everybody, and I would suggest each and every person should do at least 2 or 3 moot courts during their tenure in 10 semesters. They should be able to do at least 2 or 3 major moot courts, in which they should have the feel of the court as well, right? See, because as a law student, even though you go into the other field as well, you are here, you did law, because the primary capability is to go to the court. Unless you don't know about the court, even as a law teacher, I don't think that you are a complete legal professional.
You mentioned that every law student should do at least 2 to 3 moots in their 10 semesters. Now that we have such a long course, we have a 5 year course, sir. So, what is an ideal time that students should actually consider mooting? Because it is not easy. And when they immediately join, there are a lot of things that they need to catch up to their seniors too. So, what would ideally be a time when they should start?
I think the perfect time. I think perfect time is not there. It depends upon individual as well. In my view, if you are interested in the law, ultimately you would come to know about the different types of the societies which are must for the law school. And one of them is Moot. Moot is the primary number one society of the law school. So ultimately, law student, once he enters into the college during the first semester, I would suggest them to join, if they are interested, join their Moot Court society, because joining the Moot Court society would give you a feel of what does the Moot does in a practical scenario, how the events are organized. Right, you stand there as a volunteer, and I watch the people argue. So it gives me a sense of excitement that I can stand there. These are the things which are required in the Moot Court. And maybe by the time you reach to the end of the first semester, you are ready. So by the second semester, you have different one or two law subjects are also there. So you are well versed with the law as well. And in the second semester, you can start going for the basic, you can say, the Moot Court competition. And by the third semester, you should be doing one Moot Court competition, and then the progression goes on like this. So intra-moot, then you're by first or second semester, and then another moot by third or fourth semester, and then you have a one international moot court by fifth or sixth semester. So you have another year, seventh and eighth semester. Then by that time, you should have done with three moot courts as well.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. I hope all the people who are looking into moot court competitions have a better understanding of what they need to do and how they need to plan out their 5 years of law school. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Rishi. Pleasure were all mine. Thank you.